Welcome to the Unicorn Circuit, your weekly splat of car news, fanking, weird shit off the internet, strange foods, and random stories from my man, the Burgertron here.
And of course, us selecting games
Yes.
of various quality and price.
It's funny that you say quality and price because today we're having a look at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which I used to play Tony Hawk on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
About 50 years ago. And so recently, as Marty and I were all trying to grab onto our youth like a pair of dangling balls that had fallen too far, but we reached down to see if we could pull them back up.
Wow,
we were like,
deep and philosophical.
Let's go and buy this. And what did they say about it, Martin?
Oh, so the guy at the shop actively discouraged us from buying
He
it.
said it sucks butthole.
He says it sucks, and he kind of demanded that we look up reviews. He's like, look up reviews. I'm like, all right, so I go on my thing and I went, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 reviews. And we've got like
1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 or something.
Crap reviews. But you know what?
We're going to find out if it's actually bad or not. Mark.
Yeah, but we bought it anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Because it was, well, firstly because it was like $10, but also because you shouldn't always believe everything you read.
That's right. Now, we have had a couple of little games of it, and we've opened some things, but let's start on level 1. So I don't know what all this stuff means. I don't know what this means. I'm just going to hit start.
The truth is a mate of ours is really good at it, and he opened the levels because we're suck.
All right, now R2 accelerates. Oh, no, it doesn't.
No, you do the ollie thing. What are you doing? What's happening there? Do that again. Do that again.
Wait on.
No, do that again. What is that?
What?
You just double fingered the thing.
What?
What's this? You did an X and a triangle with one hand.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Don't people do that?
No, I've never seen that before in my life.
No.
Is that a gaming thing?
You have no... What is this? Go away.
You drive around.
No, that's how I do it, man. Look at this. So you go like this. You go boom, boom.
What is that?
Boom.
I'm losing my mind, dude. I've seen you play PlayStation. I've never seen that before.
Really? No, that's how you do it,
That's
man.
some weird Castle Hill sort of Generation
Oh,
X
wall
thing.
ride like a boss. Oh.
What's...
He gets hit pretty bad,
So part of the thing with this game is that apparently it was quite buggy when it first came out. I don't know if ours has got some patch on it or whatever, but apparently it was quite buggy. So a lot of the time you'd stack it off something and just disappear into another dimension.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm hoping for another dimension.
Dude, that's a good score. Oh man, what happened?
No, I'm still going, see?
No, you're not. You got 27,000.
Oh, wow.
27,000 is pretty good.
Anyway, I used to play this back in the day, Martin, while I probably owned a 180 at the time, which is funny because now I'm playing it again and I own a 180 now as well.
That's really good.
Except I'm not drunk.
Oh, if you'd nailed that, would have been like a $60,000 trip.
So Martin, obviously the 180's just come out. Are you pretty pumped about oh, look at that, he just broke his nuts. What's your feeling about my car now you've had a few days to think about it?
I'm pumped because I feel about your car like I feel about when you get a mad new tool.
Okay.
Because it enables you to do stuff. And that car essentially enables you to drift. If you bought a street-based 180 and we were about to rip it apart and turn it into a drift car, I'd probably be a bit sad because I think they're getting a bit thin on the ground now, nice 180s.
They're getting expensive
They're getting expensive, they're getting thin on the ground, and a lot of them do get turned into drift nuggets. Some nice ones get turned into drift nuggets where if you have bought a drift nugget.
Yeah, it's ready to go. Not just any drift nugget, but our drift nugget, which is awesome, man.
Actually even cooler. And at that it's great because then you look at it and you go, oh, the thing's a bit dented or that, but it's actually in reasonably good condition.
Not really.
Needs some love, but...
Everyone does, Martin. Everyone needs a bit of love.
Does the job.
Martin, let's get right into the car news of the week.
So my first little tidbit,
Martin.
I would consider it news. This is always in and out of the news. To give it some background, Australia has fairly slow speed limits
relative to some countries.
Some countries have slower speed limits, but the difference is for us, it's a big country. It's not a very populated country.
And a lot of people have got a long way to go to get to work and where
That's right, and it would take you to drive from one side to the other, give or take 6 days. It's like going from...
It's about 7,000 kilometres, isn't it?
Similar
5,000 miles or something?
Similar width to North America as well. So to get from one side to the other, you can imagine how long that would take. But there's instead of being hundreds of roads through, there's 1 or 2 to get through the middle. And right in the middle, to the north, you've got the Northern Territory, which is not very populated. It's hot, there's a lot of desert. But obviously trucks and cars still need to get through there.
Yeah.
So in that part of the world, there are areas that have open speed limits. Now nowhere else does. It's 110 k's an hour. I don't know what that is in miles, 65-ish, approximately. The rest of the highways, pretty much all over the country, 110. There's a handful at 130, but a few sections of one of the biggest highways through the middle of Northern Territory is open speed limit.
That's right. And they recently reintroduced that, and when they did, obviously, there was a lot of hoo-ha in the media because lots of magazines were taking fast cars up there and going, cool, now we can legally go fast. They still can fine people for doing like reckless, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But they introduced it because a lot of people have accidents on the road because they're tired. They're not drunk.
Yeah.
They're not on drugs. They're literally just tired because they're on the road for ages. Now, if you think about going 110 kilometres an hour compared to 130, 140, you're on the road for hours and hours less if you're doing a really, really big trip. And in that time, that's the time that people argue you could be saving lives.
The reason it gets all political is that they say on one hand speed kills, and on the other hand they say fatigue kills, or which is it?
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. But obviously...
Well, how many fatalities have there been then since there's been an open speed limit is the way that you would find out.
If you want to dive down a wormhole, start to look up, you know, laws about speeding and all that kind of stuff. Anyone who's got a speed ticket probably has and gone like, wait, what is this and why am I paying a fine and demerits and all that kind of stuff. So it's always political. But what's interesting is something called the 85th percentile. Now, the way that works, and I think I'm getting this right, is that if you take a number of people and send them down a road, 85% will drive a certain speed.
Yep.
Statistically.
In some suburbs, 85% will drive like total dickheads. Sorry, that's another story.
So, you know, say you get a stretch of road and 85% of people do, you know, 70 on it.
Yeah.
So that is the basic theory of how the speed limits are set, but then other politics comes into it saying, well, there's schools there, there's shops there, we don't want people to drive too quick through our suburb because it's noisy. There's all this other stuff that comes into people trying to live in harmony.
Yeah.
But the 85th percentile rule on some of the roads that are unrestricted, some of the studies have suggested that it's around 135 to 145.
Yeah, right.
Is what most people
Which is what we were
at.
doing when we were in 130 zone, weren't we? When we were in the Falcon doing Lend Us a Ride.
And
a couple of years
130
ago.
felt
And
about
that felt
right.
right.
And that was an old car.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was.
most people will drive around 135 to 145, which is interesting because even though it's open speed limit, people still aren't smashing down there at 200 k's now. Some people are, but it's a small percentile. And also, your Corolla is not really going to want to sit on more than about 135 anyway. That's probably the limit to what it'll do. Obviously, you've got other countries like Germany with autobahns where they have, I don't know if it's open speed limits. I'm not exactly sure.
I do know people. I've never gone on the autobahn, but we probably need to do a Mighty Mods episode on the autobahn at some stage. Cool. But I know people have said they've been driving down there.
You just got a 72,000 point trick.
Oh, that's what I was trying to do.
That's pretty good.
But people are. I've spoken to people that have been there and they've been going down the highway 150, 160, and there's just been cars flying past them like they're not even moving.
Yeah.
You know, that's just
so it's interesting.
It's
interesting in Australia because it's so different. Like you've got 110, and then on this road you can do 280. And I saw someone with a supercar did like someone did like 300. You're gonna eat it.
Oh, is that all that happens? That's all right. He was pretty happy with that.
So, yeah, the interesting thing is they were talking about the road toll, because the road toll's a massive thing, obviously. They don't want people dying on roads. Makes sense, particularly if you're elected in the government and your roads, everyone starts dying on your roads. It's not a good look. And we want people to be safe in cars. But the interesting thing is, politically, they've been saying that the open speed limit's a bad idea because it increased the road toll.
Yeah.
And then they went and looked at the road toll on that particular stretch of road that was de-restricted and realised that no one actually died on it.
No one.
There was about 11 or 12 crashes.
Okay.
And of those crashes,
no
the only person that got seriously injured, alcohol and no seatbelt was involved. So it's a bit tricky to say, oh, they hurt themselves because of speeding or whatever. So
I'd be interested to hear, Marty, like what you guys have in your country. Do you have open speed limits? How severely are they enforced? What kind of fines do you have? Because Australia is quite a unique situation in a lot of ways, particularly New South Wales, the way we've got to get our cars checked every year, the kind of taxes we have, the regos we have, which leads us on to our next story, which is about electric cars. So, I'm not going that well, man.
I'm going for a bowl. Here we go.
So electric cars, there has been some suggestion by the Greens, which is one of our political groups here, that we should institute free registration for cars that are electric because they're doing something for the environment. Now, what the suggestion has been is to introduce, that was good, man, is to introduce free registration for those with electric cars. And they also want to, at the same time though, they want to increase the luxury car tax, they call it luxury car tax,
which is, you don't
on
have
fossil fuel cars.
Yeah, but the funny thing about luxury car tax is you don't have to spend that much to be driving a luxury car.
No, I think the limit is around $75,000. So I want to run through how the luxury car tax works, because a lot of people are really upset about it, particularly people that want high-performance imported cars or European cars. So this is basically how it works. So cars with a luxury car tax are cars that have a value that I think at the moment is around $75,000, and the current rate is 33% must be payable as tax for every dollar that is over that amount. Now, what that means is, just to throw some numbers out there, Marty, is if you've got a car that's $100,000 including GST, approximately, then what you'd do is you would find out, that's not including dealers, delivery and stuff like that, you would take out the first component, that was really good, which is $75,000, leaving you $25,000 of that component. Luxury car sales tax is payable on that. Currently at 33%, that's around $7,500. So that $7,500 is added to the original price of the car. So your 100,000 car is now 107,000.
You pay it when you go to register it, right?
Well, it compounds as well, though, right? So the more your car costs, the more you pay. And so it's suggested that they should increase that amount to 50%.
Right.
The Greens also want to spend $151 million on infrastructure for getting more charging stations, which I think is a good idea, and another $50 million or so on like getting people that are running fleets and stuff like that to go electric. Now, all of that sounds really good, and I agree with sustainability and all those kinds of things, but it's not called public transport for no reason, Martin, which is what a lot of people call. Public transport sucks ass. So my feeling is...
Depends what country you're in, though.
No, here, our public transport generally sucks ass. And by that I mean Japan, Switzerland, Europe.
Even
your
UK,
train's doing at 29 past. I remember being in Switzerland once and it's like, 28 past, and the train goes like this and it goes bloom as it stopped, right? Here you're lucky if your bus arrives at all, sometimes, you know. And so my suggestion would be, if you're going to spend $151 million on charging stations and another $50 million on people running leases and stuff like that and fleets, $200 million could potentially be put towards making better, more reliable public transport. I don't know, I'm not an infrastructure dude or a politician. All I know is that when I get on a bus and it's covered in all sorts of bodily fluids and it stinks and it's wet and that things are ripped and there's graffiti and it sucks, like there's definitely space for things to be fixed up there.
Now, I think the biggest issue for us is that we have a small population. Therefore, you know, a train in New York is moving the number of people that all of Sydney would move in a day. So I think that's usually what people say, but that said, I don't know.
Well, the other option, of course, Martin, is you can go the way that you've been going these days and leave the public transport where it is and get yourself a bicycle.
Yeah, and you know what? That is driven mostly. I mean, I like riding bikes, and I always have, like mountain biking, all that kind of stuff.
That's a very Aussie thing, isn't it? Get a BMX when you're 5 years old.
We got great tracks, and you know, there's like jump tracks and all sorts of cool stuff. But I never really wanted to commute on it. But it started being like, to do sort of my daily commute to work or whatever. It actually started being 2 to 3 times faster to do it on a bike. That's crazy.
It's crazy, but there's still a lot of animosity towards bike riders from car drivers, and there's been a number of cases of just people getting angry and road raging and just ploughing down bikes.
Well, that's it. And see, like, I've ridden a motorbike for a long time, as I know you have, and so we're already you already start to get aware of looking after yourself a bit more on the road.
Which is why I reckon every single person with a car, I reckon they should get a motorbike license as well. Just, not even to ride a motorbike, just because your awareness and kind of driving and riding like you're invisible actually really helps.
I just want to do a disclaimer as well, though. I don't ride a push bike around in Lycra or ride a race bike or have my butt higher than my head.
Not yet. Give it a few years, man. You're still young.
I'm not that kind of dude. But yes, it is interesting to put yourself in different situations, exactly. So if you've got a motorbike, you start to understand what it's like to be a cyclist. You know, if you go running out, you shouldn't really be running on roads, I suppose. But on a push bike, you sort of are forced sometimes to be on the road. I try and avoid it. There's really cool bike tracks and stuff around it. There's a bike track, I'll use it, because then you get all that space to yourself and you can just smash along as fast as you want. Then the only people you've got to worry about is people walking dogs. Because as a cyclist, my least favourite thing, forget cars, is when you've got people walking dogs and the dog goes out on that leash that way and the person goes that way and you basically have like a wire.
I ran over a dog on my bike.
Really?
And face planted, like as I hit the dog, like full frontal like that. It ran in front of me. Owner here, leash over here, dog run in front like that. I fell over onto the ground and skidded along like that, basically using my hands as brakes. And I tried to clean out most of it myself, didn't go to the doctor. About a week later, I noticed that I had like a black dot on that part of my hand. and I had to get a knife and cut it, and there was a rock inside. That was like skin had grown over like inside, and I had to like go. Rip. Anyway, so Martin, there's a bit of discussion where we actually want to get to at the moment is talking about demerit points for bike riders. Now, in Australia, we've got pretty severe laws and fines to do with bike riding. I just want to go through a couple of these with you. These are some of the fines. So, first of all, you must wear a helmet in Australia riding a bike. That's just the law. You don't, you get a fine. How much is the fine? Let's have a look. I think it's about $70. 71. Oh no, it's not. It's gone up. $319. Wow. You're not wearing a helmet,
and
right?
You go somewhere like Holland, no one wears a helmet.
Yeah, in UK as well. Running a red light on a push bike, $425. Riding dangerously, I don't know what that means, but that's probably used to just nail people, $425. Holding onto a moving vehicle, sketching, which I haven't done with a push bike, but I've done with a skateboard quite a bit, particularly when I was young. $319.
It's like hitting boost.
And so there's a few new rules that have come in as well if you're riding bikes, and certainly from the 1st of March 2016, if you're aged 18 or over, you have to carry your license with you, car license, photo ID.
Really?
The weird thing is that's now the law, but they're not going to enforce it for another year, which gives people a bit of time to be lenient or be whatever. Look at that!
Yes,
that was awesome, man. That was great. Yeah. So, Martin, there it is. That is the news for today. And now it is time to get to probably my favourite part of the unicorn circuit, and that is weird shit off the internet. This week in Weird Stuff Off the Internet, Marty has picked up something. I actually had one of these ages ago and it got lost in the sands of time.
So this is a JDM, but made in China, air guitar.
Show us how it works, Martin.
These are cool. So you turn the little thing on here, and then
maximum volume, man, up the back there. Look at that overdrive. It's actually got inputs and outputs.
So you pick a chord, and then you strum.
Amazing. Oh, you're like actually doing like the old 145. And what's awesome is up here, you actually get like your minor, your sevens, your sharps, your flats, which is funny because on Australian delivered toys, we don't get all this extra stuff.
No, that's it's like when you get...
It's like getting a JDM car, right? You get all the extra climate control and all the awesome stuff. And we would just get this bit, but there you go, no, it's for Japan, they want the extra stuff. Now, Martin, why is that?
Why do we get the extra stuff?
Why does Japan get all the extra mad stuff?
Probably the same reason they get public transport that works.
Why is that?
I know the actual reason why Japanese cars get all the features and Australia doesn't.
Why is that?
Greedy importers, man.
Really?
Yeah. So usually in Australia, a lot of the time, allegedly, the people who bring in a certain brand of car are not the actual company themselves. It's some bloke who's gone over there 30 years ago and going, I'm going to bring in that Suzuki, or I'm going to bring in that Honda.
So if there was a company in Australia...
but I don't want all the fancy stuff. I'll sell it for the same price, but I'll put wind-up windows on it.
So if we had a company in Japan called Mighty Car Mods and we made cars, right? And then someone wanted to sell it in Australia, they're called Mighty Car Mods Australia. Yeah. They've got nothing to do with us.
No.
They just go to the post office box.
Yeah.
And collect the cars.
Pretty much.
And sell them.
Well, and that's the thing. So they could sell the car that's the same as the Japanese quality. Oh, that's cool. They could sell the car the same as the Japanese quality, but there's more profit margin if you put wind-up windows, because then you can charge the same for the car, but then the electric windows might cost you $500 a car to put in, and wind-up windows cost you $5, so you just made $440, $495 extra for yourself and your own company. That said, like everything else in Australia, public transport, whatever, it is expensive to bring that stuff here. Yeah. And it's low volume. Because in Japan they might sell, a million of the cars, and here they might sell 10,000.
Martin, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
There's possibly another point as well, a more simple explanation that is compounded by that, and that is that, as you'd said earlier, that people in Japan, adults love toys. They do. Like, they absolutely love them. So what that means is that adults need to be a bit more engaged with their toys than us. Martin, let's just check something though. If you play a C on that, I want to see if it's actually a C in my world. Which is a D. So Martin, let's just see if we can get a bit of real banjo with air guitar and see if we can 1, 2, 3, 4.
that is not much at all like playing a real guitar, is it?
Mun, I think I'd like to give you the banjo and you can play us into Fank of the Week. Of course, fanking is the art form of reappropriating a product's name by taking a photo of it down near your genitals. And this week we've had some amazing entries put in on the Fanking Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Fanking Daily. First up, Martin, the dry sack. That's just a good classic fank, the dry sack. Next up,
Oh, you know what's great about fanking?
you get to see all these mad products.
From all over the world.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can go through a whole supermarket here and eventually run out of stock.
That's right. But not if you've got a hamburger helper.
Double beef stroganoff? Stroganoff.
No. So David, the guy that sent this in, said hamburger helper, stroganoff or stroke one off. And lastly, Martin, this one here's come in.
Oh, classic.
Perfect
Brilliant.
for sharing. Cheesy balls. Amazing. Well done. Of course, share your Fank of the Week, and if they're awesome, we will not only share them on the Fanking Facebook page, we will put them on the show where you can gain infamy, fame, money, and celebrity status from your ridiculous photos. Asterix, none of that stuff is actually going to happen. Mun, let's hook into story time.
So story time this week is about first jobs.
Yes.
My first job was a fairly random one. Like a lot of kids, I mean, when you're a teenager or whatever, you don't have a great deal of skills. So you sort of go with whatever you can find.
You do.
And in my case, a local, let's call it a restaurant, had just opened.
Yep.
And I'd never done anything in food service before, and I was a teenager, and so I just thought it might be cool to go and put in a resume. And do you remember the resumes you used to put in when you were a teenager?
Oh, they're like printed on a dot matrix printer. I've got good communication skills.
I'm a good lister, and my parents think I'm cool and all that kind of stuff. You got no, it's no different from anyone else. I assume you walk in and you can speak, you know, the language, and you have 5 fingers and 5 toes or whatever it is.
But if you don't, that's cool too.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, I'm going to be straight up. It was a kebab shop.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know how like you look at the things that roast the kebabs and they're always really clean and shiny?
Yes.
That was because of me.
Really?
I was the kebab shop.
You were the kebab shop
like,
meat cleaner.
Meat thing cleaner. Which is interesting because different days of the week they'd have either really busy or really quiet days, and that would determine how much of the sort of baked on grease. Because when they slice the thing off, you know, there's also they have guys who have the knives to do it manually, or they have the guys that look like they have shavers.
They've got like the dildo thing.
They've got
the blade on
electronic
the end.
shaving, which I always think would be the worst way ever to get tortured.
Oh wow.
Anyway, like they shave off the meat with that thing, comes off in the little strips, or they had the guys with the knives. Now the guys with the knives, they'd get more splatter because the shaver one would do like a fine mist of grease, which would cover in a really thin film. But the guys with the knives, you get the big like splotches of grease everywhere.
Okay.
The chicken one was always worse than the beef.
Okay. Good. Martin,
So
you know
my
what?
job to clean them, that didn't last very long.
My first job was also food related.
Really?
I used to go down into a chicken coop and I would give the chickens a little pat and a little tickle under the chin because they deserve to have some love as well, a little tickle on the gooch. And then I would collect the eggs and I would put them in little brown paper bags and I would walk around the streets selling them for $1. And that was my first job. That was me as like me being like a little bit of an entrepreneur. And
You're selling chicken eggs to neighbours?
yeah, anyone who want to buy them.
Do you think the neighbours are doing that thing where they just buy one because they feel
No,
bad
I reckon
for the
they just knew that my eggs tasted better than everyone else's and they're like, cool, they're cheap and mad.
And they have to go to the shop to get them.
So there it is. That's this week. One of those stories was bullshit. One of them was real. You decide. All right, so now it is time for the last part of the unicorn circuit, which of course is random eat bag. And this week we're getting a double bang, man. We're going DVDD. Is that what it's called?
It's where the food poisoning comes to us.
All right, so we've got this amazing new. We've upgraded our unicorn mystery bag here, and Martin,
That's a good find.
you got 2 things in here, man. 2 things, and you get to choose. 1.
I just face planted into a moat.
Okay,
Like
good. You might need that in a second. Number 1, German-style cockwurst sausage. No, sorry, it's a bockwurst sausage. These are cocktail sausages. I've never had them before.
Hold to begin 3 balls. How do I say no to that?
Yeah, go for it. So this is a bockwurst cocktail sausage, Martin.
Yep.
So your choice is this. These will be uncooked. Directions for use, it says they must be cooked for 5 minutes, and this is pork. So you can either eat an uncooked pork bockwurst sausage,
Right.
or you can consume the contents of this bottle that we found in the boot of Too Sexy, your show car.
Oh, is that? Wait,
Now-
is that like right in the wheel well somewhere? wasn't
Yeah, so this, when we bought your car for, what did you pay for it? $2,700,
Yeah.
and we cleaned it all out to turn it from a show car into a track car. This was found in the boot, and I think in the actual episode we said we're going to keep this aside to fill the radiator, but no, we're going to fill ourselves with it. So,
What?
Mun, we're going to drink this
serious?
today.
That's
So
great.
you have a choice of either eating the uncooked bockwurst cocktail sausage, which very definitely shows on the side here, it says directions cook for 5 minutes, or you can consume what's just going to be fresh water.
Do you know
that's
the
obviously
problem with
kept.
a lot of products that say cook it for 5 minutes? They're not actually, it doesn't change the flavour, it doesn't change the taste, it doesn't change anything except kills the potential bacteria that are in there trying to kill you.
Yeah, we don't know that there's bacteria in there, but it's made of pigs, so there probably is. I've also just noticed, Martin, as well, see the other problem with this? Can you see a big problem with this jar?
It's open?
It's been opened.
Oh yeah, that's not
So anyway, so you can have the opened uncooked pork sausage, or you can drink the contents of the previous owner's bladder. I mean, you can have this water. The choice is yours, man. What do you want?
I think, oh man, wait.
See, this is my feeling, right? This is my feeling.
What's the
Let's
expiry
concentrate
date?
for a
Oh,
second.
this doesn't have the original. The original product in this expired over 2 years ago, which means it was probably made 2 years before that.
The problem is that it may not be the product expiring, it's the plastic leaching out toxins and stuff. Because a lot of people say, why does water have an expiry date? It doesn't, but what it's in has an expiry date. And this water's been through a dinosaur's penis twice. That's a fact. Dinosaurs, because there's only a finite amount of water, dinosaurs drink it, they piss it out, then we drink it. That's how it works. So I think we've actually got to look at this a little bit more systematically, Martin. I think we can pretty much say, I don't know much about cocktail sausages, but I feel like if we eat this and it's meant to be cooked, we can be fairly certain we'll be sick.
That's
Yep.
true. That is
This
true.
one here is just water,
Yeah.
but it's your choice, man. Well, it's either one sausage each or a shot glass of this. It's up to you.
I think we're going to take the risk on the liquid one.
Really? Oh my
Because
God. All right, no, I'll go there.
No, I've seen what happens to people when they eat like
Okay.
botulent sausages, and it's not pretty.
Okay,
What's
Mum.
interesting about this game is you don't even need to look at it and you can play it.
Yeah.
It's also
Okay,
nice
Martin.
that no one's trying to kill you in this game for a change. Oh,
All
you've
right.
got glasses and everything.
Yeah, man. I'm prepared. It's just water. It doesn't even have a smell. It's completely
Doesn't have a
smellless.
smell. Are you serious? That
It
smells.
doesn't have a smell at all.
That smells like old shoes.
It doesn't have a smell. And I reckon it was just kept in there so that he could fill up his radiator or something like that.
Oh.
We're going to do one shot each, Martin.
Why is it that before we do this, you always get that sort of like biley taste where your body's preparing for something that's not supposed to be inside it?
It's not quite clear, is it? Like, it's not clear.
No, it's
See what I
like-
mean?
It's like white.
It's got a colour to it. All right, Martin. That's been the unicorn circuit. I'm just going to say before we started, people use these and Gatorade bowls because the mouth is large. They urinate in it, but that's not urine.
How long does it? Yeah, but you don't know that. What if he did a clear wee? What if he drank lots of water because he'd been in the gym and he did a clear wee?
It doesn't smell like urine. It smells like dirty grass.
It smells like it's turned into alcohol. Like it's been sitting around long enough.
Could be alcohol, but I think it would smell worse. Anyway, that's the unicorn circuit for another week. Cheers, Martin. Bottoms up. None of this sipping business. We're about to drink the contents of we're about to drink a shot glass full of the contents of a bottle that we found in a stranger's car that also had old socks and other manky stuff in it. Cheers. Thanks for watching the unicorn circuit. Nice knowing you, man.
Oh, that's stale.
It's
That
got
is
chunks
stale.
in it.
Does yours have chunks?
No, mine's got pieces in it. All right. No, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to go and make myself spew. I'm not
that's
joking.
spicy.
Oh, it's sorry.
It's really spicy.
It literally tastes like old socks.